Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today we have Luke Skywalker, Mara Jade, and we have a holiday version of an astromech droid with Grogu. Let's start off with looking at Luke and Mara. So this is Luke, really more or less from um, A New Hope, or at least, New Hope, maybe at the beginning more so of. Empire Strikes Back, where he's in his classic fighter suit with his cooling vest, compression vest, and all of his electronics here for trying to help keep him safe and secure inside of his cockpit if there's ever an emergency. Looking at the back here, now this is a 2013 Luke Skywalker. Uses his power of the Force and piloting skills to destroy the Death Star. So, yes, very much so from A New Hope. So, all right, let's get this opened up because Luke is our iconic figure, the original hero. And here we are. So, looking at everything inside here, we have our lightsaber, which comes out nice and easy. He does have his heavy blaster pistol, much like Han, except he's actually got a scope on the side instead of being on top. But the same kind of pistol that Han uses was the DL-44. His flight helmet with all of his iconic kind of print on there. And of course, then we have Luke himself. Now, we do have. I've never understood exactly what this is supposed to be. Out of all the years, I've never really looked into it, but you will notice that sometimes they have kind of a little bandolier along their leg. Now, as a pilot, because room is very important inside of a cockpit, that's why quite often our pilots aren't even carrying a pistol on them. Actually, underneath the seat, they have a little pack or whatever, survival pack. And in that pack, they actually have, I believe it's an AR-7. I could be wrong on that. What it is it's a nice collapsible little 22, little 10 round magazine, 22. I don't know how many rounds they give them, and then they give them some like an MRE or two or something like that along that line, just to kind of keep them going for a day or two until they get picked up by whatever forces are supposed to pick them up for whatever theater of operation they're in. Uh, but you get the idea. It's very tight in those cockpits. It's meant for just getting a person in there, the pilot, not give them all the room in the world to sit there and have a lot of free space. In Vietnam, you would see occasionally a pilot that would actually have a holster, um, something that would be actually on the front of his compression vest. So that way he had the firearm on him in case something happened and he could not get to his uh, the base of the ejection seat, and he had to just run for it. So some of the little things there, and I don't think even in Star Wars things would have been changed all that much. But looking at Luke, he's got his iconic, kind of flight boots here. He has a pretty good range of motion here out of them. And of course, because they pop in here, we should have a rotation because that is a joint. As it, like I said, it just kind of pops in. And then we have what looks like a double knee. Now he's got his webbing here, really for, I'm guessing, like a parachute or so. Uh, and with his pants being the way they are, kind of fluffed out a little bit, he doesn't have the best range of motion, but he has a pretty decent range of motion. And of course, it looks like a little line here, so that way we can do a thigh twist, which is common. And of course, it's the ball joint right there. Now we also should have a torso twist. Now with everything being here, that does not seem to be happening. And he can do a little bit of a crunch, but everything's kind of in the way here. So he's got a little bit of availability for that, but not much. Okay, then we'll get on to his arms. He's got a single shoulder mount. He does not have that second ball mount to be able to give him a little extra range of motion. And we don't have anything for the upper arm. So that means all of our extra range of motion is here in the elbow. And then the glove, maybe? Nope, glove is pretty secured. And then it's just his hand. So we can get onto the controls. And we go from there, and then just a basic range of motion there for his head. So very iconic, the helmet fitting on top, getting onto his chin there. Works pretty good. Stands pretty good, I think. Yep. Okay, now I don't see a spot for his pistol to be holstered, so with that being the case, I will put that into his hand. Hopefully we have, and we do. One of the things that they had done there for a little while is we have a little kind of clip here for his lightsaber. So we can actually take the blade off, and we can actually hook the lightsaber onto his belt. It's got a very simple kind of hook onto it. All right, so there's that, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to kind of put that on the back of his boot here for now. Try not to bend it, just so I can keep it with him as we start getting over to Mara Jade and going from there. So we have yet to get a Mara Jade, and it is kind of nice to have Luke and Mara, seeing that they do get married, and then we get Ben. Okay, so we'll open this up, and then we have a nice early look without being able to actually see her in the box. Let's get this all popped open here. All right. If I can get her out. All right. Cardboard's all kind of stuck in there. Okay, so looking at Mara Jade. That's going to be your lightsaber. I thought she had a blaster pistol as well, but I might be mistaken on that. And she does have a much lighter body style. Being more the female figure, she has that thinner body. She's got some boots on her with a little bit of a heel. Range of motion being what they are. Goes back pretty decent. Going forward. Now this does move a little bit on the stiffer side, being brand new. Standing up pretty decent here. Alright, so the boots, nope, that's all molded all together here. So that's all fine, and then we have a double knee, so hopefully she can stretch that knee out, get that leg all stretched out so she doesn't get a cramp in here as we normally look at them. And then we should have a joint right here and going from there. Whoops, and I knocked Luke over. There you go, good sir. All right, now I don't know if we're going to have a torso twist with her or not. Nope, it just kind of splits up here. So this is all one piece. So she can do crunches. We've got her able to do some crunches here. We do have movement just under the bust, so she can twist that way, but not there at the waist. And looking at her shoulder, it looks like it's only a single shoulder again, as she looks like she's got a harness on. And her elbow being a single elbow, single shoulder, And then we have the wrist here. And then of course with her hair being back here, she doesn't get a huge range of motion with her head. She gets a little bit, but not a huge range of motion, which is fine. Sometimes we give that some of that up to give a decent looking figure here. And she has that holster, so we'll have to see what we have in the bag. I'm hoping that there's a pistol. Looking at it, I guess there is. When I was first looking at it, I didn't see the outline of the pistol here. So I really didn't know. Okay, that should be all good. And again, we have that very similar DL44 look for the pistol. No scope, no nothing. She's just doing iron sights here. Very bare bones and basic, which is perfectly fine. And she's got a holster, so I'm going to put that into the holster, and I'm going to give her, now she has a purple lightsaber. Now where else have we seen a purple lightsaber? From Mace Windu. Although, technically, her character was written a little bit before Mace Windu, and I don't remember if they ever said that she had a purple or not. I really just don't remember. I remember listening to the books because I had gotten them on audio because I cheated, and that way I could listen to it a couple times over. So you can yell at me because I didn't officially read it. But there. Nice striking pose. And it's funny, she is a little bit taller than Luke. So when we look at Luke in A New Hope, and then Leia sitting there saying, "Aren't you a little short for being a stormtrooper?" You know, oddly enough, he is just a tad shorter than Mara. So I don't know exactly how tall Mark Hamill is, but it is funny to sit here and say Mara Jade, his future wife, is just a hair taller than he is. So, all right, I'm going to just set that back there if it's going to fall anyways. All right, as we're knocking over Frenzy. Getting our R2 unit out for the holiday. Now you could look at this one of a couple ways, I guess. You could look at it as trying to give R2. I think I'm going to have a message here in a minute. Either they gave R2 a paint job, so he has got a nice festive holiday look, or this is just a different astromech droid that's all done up this way. However you want to do it, it is kind of funny to look at it, and gives them a little bit of a nice beard and hat. Now there is some plastic in here. You could take the plastic out. I'm just leaving it in here, just being silly. And of course, then we have Grogu all done up as an elf or as another little Santa. The arms do move here. You know, the festive ones. Some people don't like them. Some people do like them. For the droids, I kind of like them because it gives me different colors. So just me, being a silly individual, you get some different colors to add to the whole collection, because I do always like the droids. Alright, now I'm not going to worry about putting all these on here, but with the R2-D2, we do have the thrusters on here. I didn't realize that actually the flames could come out. This one fell off. But I guess it would make some sense. That way you could customize it however you want. So we do have the thrusters on there if you want him to be flying. He does have a candy cane to go into one of his access, service access panels, as well as one of his graspers. So he could try and shake hands. So you know, once we take this off, we do have the two ports here, which is our standard, and we have 3 spots in each. So depending on how you want to put that out here, you could have a candy cane sitting in there and his grasper on the other side. So you could shake hands and hand out candy canes, just having some fun with it all. And then this is going to come off. Let's see, it should come off right here. Yep. So this whole piece is going to come off if we do want to put our thruster on there. I'm going to leave it off for now. I think I'll just leave it like this. I'll have to figure out exactly where I'm going to put them. But it is something fun to add in there. I don't remember the price I got him for. I've been sitting on these guys for a little while. This R2 and Grogu is from the 2025 lineup. I know I ordered it as soon as I had seen it because me being me, the silliness that ensues, I always like having the droids. Just, you know, it fascinates me, and what's going on today, the fact that we have all this stuff coming out is fascinating. I'm still wondering, where do we get our R2-D2s? I'd like to get an R2-D2 yet, but it is what it is. But with that, seeing Luke, Mara, and whatever we want to call the astromech, because they're not specifically saying it is R2. Maybe Grogu gets his own little R2 series droid for doing the holidays. Maybe he's doing the holiday tour with the Mandalorian, bringing joy and cheer to all the kids. And maybe we have Luke and Mara kind of helping to run cover to make sure that they stay safe. So, having fun with it all. With that, thank you so very much for joining me today. It's wonderful having you here. I hope you're doing well, and I will see you in the next video.